Happy New Year, Happy New Decade, everyone. I'd like to begin with a little mythological story that happened after the creation of the universe. The sun brought all the stars and planets and everything in creation together in a room like this and said, I can't shine 24 hours a day, guys, so I need to know who will take my place when it gets dark. And when the sun said this, the planets all started to look down because they didn't want to do the work of the sun. They liked receiving the light, they liked sunbathing, but they didn't want to share the light. So they looked around hoping someone else would raise their hand. The moon didn't think he could do it because he has different phases and couldn't promise that he would always be full. And he thought, even if I am full, I still can't light up the night. All the stars kept quiet because they said to themselves, even if it was a clear night and all of us were shining, we still couldn't dispel the darkness. Finally, a little lamp steps forward and says, all right, I'll do it. And the sun says, thank you. The little lamp says, I may be small, but I will sacrifice and as long as I live, I will give light to others. So that little story is about taking care of our inner light. The lamp represents the light within. And the structure of the lamp could be thought of as a symbol for the body. And now that illumination inside has to be maintained. And it's maintained either through oil or through oxygen. But it runs out. And so there's a limited time where we have this light within us. The opposite of light is darkness. And darkness is the source of ignorance in spiritual traditions. If you think of a theater, movie theater, it has to be dark for the drama to take place. Once the lights are turned off, then the projector can show the movie, and we all suspend reality for some time and we enjoy the movie. Then at the end, the main hall lights come back on, you can't see anything on the screen anymore, and we wake up from our reverie. So this is what light symbolizes in terms of the spiritual journey. It's a symbol of illumination, of knowledge, of wisdom. There is also something tangible, or something that is to be perceived within through meditation, an inner light, the light of consciousness, the light of electricity. But at least metaphorically, we can think of it as dispelling the darkness of doubt, of negativity, of ignorance. And so this lamp is a good symbol. Another symbol is the candle. Like the lamp, the candle also needs some fuel. It needs oxygen. And the wax is continuously melting. So the wax is the symbol of the physical body. Day after day, the physical body, the materials of the body want to go back to their constituent parts through entropy. And we don't always realize it, that time is short, and we have to do something with this light. Giving that light to others, sharing the light like the lamp, isn't about pointing out people's flaws and trying to teach them in that way. It's about shining so brightly that people can see the way for themselves. The obstacles to maintaining the light of a candle are strong wind. Strong wind can be thought of as emotion in the mind. So when we have more anxiety, more anger, the breath gets really fast and chaotic, and can knock out that flame of illumination. So try to think of this as a steady flow of fuel for the fire, for the light within. Also, the light of a candle can go out if it's moving too quickly, if you're carrying the candle too fast. So to try to keep that flame still means we need calmness, we need peace. We can get that peace, we can get that stillness by taking time for meditation, by being in the company of like-minded, spiritually oriented people, and tending to that day in, day out to protect the light. Another symbol is the light bulb. the light bulb like you see in the room that removes the darkness. The interesting thing about these bulbs is they may all be different shapes and sizes, but what makes it possible for them to shine is an invisible source of electricity. Maybe if ancient people knew about electricity, they would have called it the inner electricity instead of the inner light. And it appears as though each of the lights in a room have their own separate existence, their own separate electricity, but really they're all sharing the same electricity. It's all coming from one same power source. And so on the surface, we may appear different. We may all be different light bulbs, different shapes, sizes, colors, and so on. But there's something hidden that we all share, and that ought to be a source of unity for everyone in the world. And when that bulb burns out, just like when the oil runs out, or when the wax is depleted finally, where does the electricity go? That electricity was never for that bulb alone. It's flowing through everything, and so it just goes on. Just like consciousness may be at the ground of everything, not something emergent from the brain, but maybe the brain, all space, time, and matter emerge from consciousness. And so we could think of our brain and our body as essentially an interface for consciousness to experience the world. And when that interface is finished, comes off, the electricity goes on to all the other bulbs, all the other manifestations in the universe. And so the last one is fire. Fire is hidden in the wood. The wood is the symbol of the human body. It's material, but how do you get that fire to come out? Well, through some friction. So what we think of as unpleasant is actually the very technique for illumination. That friction, that sense that the world, people are rubbing us the wrong way, is what can create the fire, can help it to manifest. To keep things comfortable won't light this fire. We can think of the friction as yoga, as meditation, as some type of self-control, self-discipline, or austerity. And the wood itself creates the fire. You bring two sticks together, and through friction, the fire manifests. And so the last words, supposedly, of the Buddha were "be a light unto yourself." So what does that mean? Well, part of it meant that he was going to be gone. People were saying, what would we do without you? And he said, be a light unto yourself. But it also means meta attention. And this is one of the essences of Buddhist meditation, that through the light of the mind, you shine attention on what is the mind. So like the stick and the stick trying to create the fire, with the mind, you try to know the mind. So meta attention means using your awareness to know what your awareness is doing, and to look for the self. And by looking for the self, we realize we're not the candle, we're not the lamp, we're not the wood, we are the fire, we are the light. And so that is the spiritual journey in a nutshell. Shifting from thinking we have a light, we have a soul, to we are the light, we are the electricity, we are the soul. And the material stuff is going to fade away. But if we can shift our identification away from ego and the small-mindedness to that light, that eternal light, then there won't be fear of death. And so that is the practice, always preparing for the reality in the interim. And so when that time comes, it will be okay, because we already know that we're light. Be a light unto yourself. Use the mind to know the mind, like the stick and the stick coming together, or the thorn to get rid of the thorn when you have some prick in the skin. So we'll conclude with a little practice of meditation to try to create a sense of that inner light, that feeling, and how to tend to nurture it. So if you wouldn't mind sitting straight in your seat and close your eyes. First, let's get acquainted with this candle or with this lamp of our body. Notice what it feels like to be sitting in a chair. Bring more attention to the sensation of subtle pressure between your legs and the seat and where your feet touch the floor. Let the tiny facial muscles around your eyes relax. If your tongue is pressed against the roof of your mouth, relax, release it, maybe place it behind the upper teeth. Breathe through your nose if possible. Let your shoulders relax. Let your arms hang like heavy curtains. And then bring your attention to breathing. There's electricity in the body. There's a light in the body, but it needs the oxygen. This is the most immediate link to life. So with each inhalation, try to feel as though it is an offering to the inner light. With each inhalation, try to feel that incoming oxygen is expanding the light in the brain. With each exhalation, try to feel that the darkness of ignorance is dispelled. Try to enjoy it. Then you can slowly resume your normal breathing and awareness. And when you feel ready, you can slowly open your eyes and come back to the room. I hope you enjoyed that, and I look forward to further conversation. That little lamp in the beginning, and that first story I told reminds me of the song, "This Little Light of Mine." So may you shine, and may it be a very bright and illuminating new year, new decade, and the rest of your life. Thank you.